Hey everyone, so welcome to week 2. So this week our agenda is we will be focusing on units 3 and 4. Unit 3 is focusing on how to read and interpret the architect's scale. So you guys will hear the term scale a lot through the course. Unit 4 will focus on the alphabet of lines. So this is important because this is the communication of information used in construction drawings. So you're going to see a whole bunch of lines on blueprints, and this is where we will start to get a better understanding of what they are. So here's what your assignments look like for this week. Read units 3 and 4 of your textbook, and then click on the week 2 link and complete the assignment questions. And then after you've completed your assignment questions, you will then write one small journal entry for a couple of key points that you learned for this week. Okay, so just a couple of assignments I'm asking you to do. So what I thought I would do is basically give you an overview of what some of these alphabet of lines are and look like on a blueprint. But before I do that, I'm going to discuss a little bit on Unit 3 and the architect scale. So Unit 3 is fairly small, and all it's doing is introducing you to the 11 different scales that are on the architect's ruler. And I think what I'd like you guys to do is, read it, but then I have a small video within this folder that explains how to actually read some of the different scales. All right, it's pretty cheesy and cornball, but it actually is a decent one to watch because it'll really help you better understand the different scales that are on there. And then Unit 4, I'm going to go into a couple of blueprints, and I'm going to show you what some of these alphabet of lines are. And that way you'll have a better understanding of what it is you're looking at here on plan. So what I'll do is I'll reference page 19 of Unit 4, and there's a few of these lines listed here. And so I'll just go into the 2 unit here, and I will show you the elevation view first. So the elevation view, what I wanted to show you, so the first one I will show you is something called an object line. And that's a pretty easy one to understand. It's just a real dark, solid line outlining the object of something, right? So if you look at this elevation drawing, guys, and just kind of trace the outside of the roof, and if you go around, and then you'll see, the doors and all of the windows, and even this line here, which is the, elevation line or the line of grade. You can quickly see that it's really easy to understand, right? An object line is a dark object line, heavy. It's going to outline something. If you look at the floor plan or a plan view here, there's also object lines here, right? If you look at the walls here and you look at the exterior of them, they're all outlined with a heavy, dark, solid line. So these 2 are object lines, along with some of the things in the kitchens and in the tubs and showers and all that kind of stuff, all right? So that's a pretty easy one to understand. How about extension and dimension lines? So if I blow this up, I'm on the plan view right now. Something you guys will see a lot of are extension and dimension lines. So first of all, what is an extension line? So if you look at, let's say, the very outside of this left-hand side of the apartment, an extension line would be the line that comes from the corner and it goes all the way up here, okay? This is a good example of an extension line. Another place would be, there's one right here, there's one right here, they're everywhere. One on the end here, there's one on this corner. So extension lines are going to be those lines there, all right? And these are what our dimension lines are connecting into. So the next line then would be a dimension line. So Dimension lines basically will start from your extension line here and go all the way, over to here, all right, and stop. Um, Dimension lines, as you can see, are everywhere on this plan, all right, and what you'll see a lot of too, guys, is something called chain dimensions, which you'll have a whole bunch of different dimensions starting and stopping everywhere. So what you can do and how you can look at that is on a lot of plans you'll have a whole bunch of chain dimensions kind of down on the bottom here, and then as you go up with these extension lines, the dimensions start to get more, they're less of them. There's less chain dimensions, okay? And then by the time you get all the way up to the top here, you have one overall dimension, right? So we could say that this apartment complex, this duplex, the overall width of it would be 72 feet, right? From this corner to this corner, okay? So these are extension lines. These are dimension lines, okay? Very important. Next is something called a dash line. I think of hidden lines and phantom lines as dash lines, okay? So what is a dash line? The easiest way for me to explain that to you guys is this. Dash lines are something that you can't see, right? So when you see them, they're there, but know that they're there because they are hidden, and generally they're hidden in the ground somewhere, right? So typically you're going to see, most of the time, dash lines are going to be on your foundation plans and elevation plans. Okay, so in this example, we're looking at the front of the duplex, and if you notice here, there's a whole bunch of dash lines. So what is it that we're looking at? Well, the first set of dash lines is the actual footing for this duplex. And then the ones that are going vertically up here, that's part of the foundation of the two-bedroom or the duplex, okay? So in this case, it's a slab-on grade or a frost wall. And I know that this is all going to be buried in the ground. So when I'm looking at it, you're still seeing it, but you're not seeing it as a solid line because it's in the ground, all right? This big dark line here, this big object line, is actually the grade, okay? The other place you'll see something like this is in foundation plans, all right? If you look at a drawing like this, the foundation plan here, you'll see a whole bunch of dashed lines here, okay? So that is what a dashed line is, all right? Sometimes you'll see dashed lines too on, like, okay, this plan right here. What is this dashed line representing? Does anybody have any guesses? Well, remember, a plan view is like a section view. If you took the roof off this, you're looking straight down, right? Well, the roof has an overhang on it, right? So what this architect has done is drawn this dashed line in here to represent where the overhang would be. You can't see it because the roof is not here, but if you put the roof on, it would be there, and this is what you would see, okay? So that's what that is. One other one would be a center line, and in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to get back into my plans folder and show you on this lake house drawing here. And if you look at the lake house, and I blow this up, a center line, guys, is something you'll see a lot of on foundation plans. And what it looks like is it's a long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, okay? And it's going to be drawn in to depict and show centers of columns and different types of footings, things like that, right? So what this picture is showing here is, here's a column footing, or a post pad, we like to say in the field, and this center line is showing the exact center of this pad, okay? And without teaching you anything yet on what any of this means, just know that that's what center lines are showing. So if you were the guy going to set this column or this post here, you would know exactly where it would need to be. All right, so this is what this is showing. So center lines are showing centers of things such as footings and column pads or post pads or anything like that. Then the last one is something called a break line. And so there's a symbol for a break line. And the best way I could show you is, I'm back on this 2-bedroom unit here. The symbol looks like this for a break line. And all it's doing is, so what we're looking at here is this section view. So the section view is this basically cut right here, okay? So the break lines are drawn in to show that that's where that's going to end, all right? The architect doesn't have to draw this thing all the way over, all right? He only has to draw a part of it to get his information conveyed, all right? So that's what a break line looks like. And I got one more here I just want to show you quick. Extension lines or leader lines is what I want to show you. I've already showed you extension lines. Leader lines are something you're going to see a ton of on drawings. And a leader line is nothing more than, okay, let's just look at this. R30 insulation and ceiling. So the leader line is going from here, and then it's kind of going off at a 90 or a 45 here, and then pointing up to this portion of our section view. So leader lines are basically pointing out different types of information on plans. And there's a reason for the madness here. If the architect started drawing and writing in all these descriptions for everything on right where they go, this drawing would be super confusing to read, all right? And part of our I guess portion of the trade is, we need to very quickly pick out information so that we can understand how to read it. And the architect's job is to do that and let us read things and pick out information easy so it's not confusing. So that's why he did it this way, and it's listed in a way that's very easy to read. And as you can see, these things are everywhere, all right? So that is kind of a real quick basic tutorial on what some of these lines look like. Read your chapter, really try to take a few notes and understand what these are, and it'll really help you as we get going, okay? With that being said, if you have any other questions, you can get a hold of me, email me, call me, or use the discussion board. So guys, have a good week, and I will see you soon.